Ryan here from Venture, and this week I've been really fortunate enough to be asked to do the Young Entrepreneurs Week for Property Tribes. Today I'm joined by Shaun and Jerome. So, Shaun, what attracted you to property?
I think it's a very stable and lucrative industry with many different ways of sort of making money. You can have several different sort of businesses inside the property sector, so I think that's why it's a very attractive sector to be in.
Well, I saw a problem in the rental market in social housing, and I thought that, how could I actually address this problem that I saw? And from then, came the conception of our venture. So that's what attracted me, a problem, fundamentally.
So your venture, how did you two become attracted to working together?
We actually known each other for a long time through the music industry, actually. We both love music, both makers of music, since we were in school sort of days.
Yeah.
So we've known each other a very long time.
Yeah.
So then was it you, Jerome, who brought the problem to Shaun and said, I've got this problem, do you want to work together? How did the property journey happen for both of you?
For me personally, I had a council flat and had a vacant room, and I just decided to get someone in there and make some money because I was cash strapped, so I needed some money, and I did that. And then I thought to myself, I've got a business here. Did it for my parents, close relatives, and then I said to Shaun, look, this is what I'm doing. Help me. Do you understand?
And I also was an estate agent years ago and had been worked with property before, so when he brought this to me I thought, I can help with that.
Yeah, so it's like the meeting of the mind. You had the experience, you had the idea, and you partnered up. And then, so what is the business and how has it evolved from you renting out a room to where you are today?
Okay, what is the business? Well, we like to say that we're the first room only rental management service. So in a nutshell, what we're doing is, if you've got a vacant room, we're just pretty much putting a lodger in there and managing that process, and alleviating the fears that many people have, which is of safety, security and protection, which is not out there, especially in flat sharing, because there's not a lot of legislation and policy surrounding this sector. So what we're trying to do is revolutionise it and clean it up.
Yeah, exactly what Jerome said. I think there's just a lack of understanding about all levels of sort of property. There's some people who come to this country needing homes, there's students that need homes, there's families that need homes, and where we find lodgings and lodgers, we find that this sector is very much undermanaged, underlooked after. There's no care in it, especially when it comes to do deposits and things like that. So we've come to bring changes to that, where the traditional agents have sort of let everyone else down.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. So the whole thing about an entrepreneur is that you spot an opportunity, which you've done. So how did you initially spot that, and what do you do differently, apart from it being just in your sort of own sort of home? How did you know that there was scope for this?
Well, research.
Yep.
Fundamentally research. We had to research, and initially I was part of a local political group who made me aware that there is a slight problem, but it wasn't scalable at all, and there was a lot of red tape. Myself and Shaun sat down with lots of local authorities and different people, and we found that there was a lot of red tape for us, breaking through and actually being able to have success. So, we just went back down to the drawing board and done a lot of extensive research, and we found that, for example, just throwing out numbers, there's something like 25 million spare bedrooms in the United Kingdom, 4 million in the capital.
Yep.
And it's a massive market. So there is scope for scalability.
And successive governments have all gone on about the housing crisis and how there's a lack of housing, but one of the things that isn't much talked about is the fact that we're underoccupying the housing that we currently have. And what our model allows people to do is to utilise at a greater level what we already have. So it provides an instant solution to the housing crisis, something that's not going to take a year, 2 years, 10 years to build a load of houses. We can actually utilise capacity that we have now and encourage people to utilise it. So that's where we're a bit unique.
It's very inspiring listening to you guys. Like, typical entrepreneurs, you've spotted a problem and you're trying to do something to solve that problem. And two friends as well that have known each other a long time is great. So but you're both young guys. What are the advantages of being young, do you think, that you've experienced?
I think the advantage of being young is that you have energy, you have more time, you have less responsibilities. You can sort of plough yourself into something more. As in, when you get a bit more older, it's harder to be as focused, I think.
I think I pretty much agree with Shaun. Yeah, definitely. When you're young, you might be a bit more vibrant. You've got a bit more fire in your belly to just really get out there and go. And again, responsibilities are not to say that you don't have any, but you have less.
Yeah.
You understand? You have less. So it's
Yeah.
easier for you to just get around and get out there and really get in the field and do what you need to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've
Yeah.
found that myself. I don't have any children. I don't have a wife, but I have a partner who's been waiting a long time for a ring, but that's another story. We'll
up.
just hurry up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we'll make our way a little bit. You both said we've got time, so we'll go with that. But I know that myself, that I've made a few sacrifices for the life that I've chosen.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that yourselves?
Yeah, you do have to make sacrifices because at the end of the day, it's your vision or your dream, and you have to put other dreams aside for that dream, whether that be, girlfriends or having children or, whatever it is. Sometimes you do have to put things aside, and you see some of your peers maybe doing other things while you're pursuing the dream, but that's just part and parcel with being an entrepreneur. It's about pushing the boundary as much as you can.
Definitely. Again, it's once you have that belief system in whatever you're doing, and you've done your research, added with your passion, it is tunnel vision, and there are sacrifices that you literally have to make. But I think you have to make sacrifices with anything that you care about in general. So for me personally, from cutting off going clubbing that weekend and saving that tenner or that fiver to travel to go and do something else, I think it's worth it, and it's the sacrifice that you have to make and be dedicated for your business and your ventures to actually succeed. You just have to do it.
What I really like about you two is this is obviously very close to your heart, and you've got the mindset and the approach to push this business forward, and ultimately most businesses like that are actually successful. But just going to the mindset sort of things, have you two always been this driven, or did that come from family life, or where did it come from? Have you had to work on the mindset?
I think personally, I've always been quite a driven person, but having met Jerome, I think he's always been driven also. I think coming from the situation that we've come from, I grew up in a council estate. I didn't grow up in the best area. I come from a single parent family. A lot of people in London can resonate with that. But one thing that was maybe different is that I've pursued sort of a different life, and that sort of drives you on for something better. Everyone likes to do better than the last generation.
Yep.
You got to do better than mum and dad did. You got to do better than your brother. You got to do better. So it's about just achieving something that almost seems out of reach, but if you focus enough, you can get it. I think that's what's kind of spurred me on.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Sure isn't a lot. Yeah. It's the same. Where we've come from has not necessarily been the easiest, but it's just about, for me personally, I just made a decision that I wasn't going to accept my lot, and a lot of people in my environment have accepted their lot, and I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to exceed expectations, so I've had to place an expectation on myself to do a bit better. So it's like I aim for the moon, but if I just get the skies, at least I'm better off than the majority of people that I'm around. So
it's better to start than not to try at all. And I think when you come from maybe parts of the world where we grew up in, it's that ambition's not really there. People seem to settle, whereas we don't settle.
Can tell that,
Yeah,
definitely. And I think you two drive each other on as well, don't you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's like not competitive, but you both hold each other accountable, and you've both got that drive, and you're both very strong when it comes to mindset. And I love this connection that you two have got. But so thinking about that then, guys, what about, you said that obviously you've had some challenges. What is the biggest challenge that you've each individually faced, and how have you overcome that?
Funds.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah,
Finance. Yeah.
Finance has been it's been the biggest challenge for us as a business. People talk a lot about this lean approach and bootstrapping and all these things, but it depends on what kind of a business you have and what kind of a model you have. And a lot of people generally to start need some level of capital. So we found that a challenge. And again, going back to sacrificing, I've sacrificed savings, I've sacrificed stocks and shares that my grandparents had, you know, to put into the business. So, but that has been a challenge for us, to finance and just, you know, getting enough money in the business to actually make something back.
Yeah, I think being a young entrepreneur is that and experience, because there were times where, okay, we need to print up some flyers and stuff. It's like, okay, we don't really have the money for what we want to do. Let's just put it on a credit card and get it done. So you have to make those kind of decisions if you want things to proceed sometimes. That might be the only way to do it. I don't recommend it, but it might be the only way to do it.
Yeah.
If you have that capacity to get something done, you have to do it. But that's a part and parcel of being an entrepreneur. The other thing I'd say was that sometimes when you're young, you don't have the experience. So sometimes you may have resources available to you, but you might not know how to best use them. Or you might not know, for instance, that, the library might offer a whole, database full of property information or research, and you don't know it's there, etc., because you're inexperienced in the field. So it's about doing the research and gaining that experience as fast as you can, because that's what helps you climb faster.
Yeah, that's inspiring, guys. I like that. Have you been able to go to a mentor or somebody who's been influential in your journey? Have you been able to utilise someone else's experience to try and get around some of those little blips in the road?
Yeah, we've had a few people come on board or come in an advisory capacity who are a bit more experienced to kind of lead us through some of the pitfalls, and who have saved us a lot of time and got certainly a lot of money, because we could have gone down a path only realising it was a dead end. So now they've kind of helped us. But we also, I think, as a young entrepreneur, you have to be open to receiving that advice.
Because it can be a bit hard,
Yeah.
Like, you could be focusing on just doing it one way, because that's how I was like that, speaking for myself, It's like, once you have the idea, you think, this is just it, and it can't change, and it's not going to change, and this is how I'm keeping it. And then you speak to someone that's more experienced and seasoned than yourself, that actually has a real track record, and they're telling you to do something totally different. And you're like, okay, well, Shaun's that guy, he's that guy of reason, telling me, look, I think we should do this.
So he comes with a crazy idea, and I'm like, well, we can't do it this way because of this, and this, but we can try it maybe this way. It's like, no, we need to do it that way. I'm like, well, and then we work together, and then it can happen properly. So he's more the crazy, I'm more the sound, but I think it's a good team.
Yeah, but the mentorship is very, very important for any young entrepreneur. Yeah. You need that guidance.
You do.
It's like a parent.
Yeah.
And a child, you need that guidance.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
There's some basic things that you don't realise you need. Legal.
Yep.
Every business, no matter what sector you're in, legals is, of the utmost importance. You get your legals right, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. You might have to spend some money getting a good lawyer or getting someone who knows what they're doing to look over contracts, because we've had a load of people come along and offer us things, and some of the things we've been offered isn't great. And as a young entrepreneur, you've got to have something so you can avoid some of the pitfalls. If you've got a good idea, people are going to come around you very quickly, and those people may not have the best of intentions. So you need to have good legal team or a good somebody you can trust who knows legals. That's something that we've benefited from, having a few people who know what they're doing to help us along. So it's legal and finance.
Pretty much the epitome of what most young entrepreneurs are facing, especially when finance as well, being such a younger person, and like you're saying, not with the track record. You're talking to people and you want money, and you haven't got the track record, but you've got this idea, especially one that you feel so passionate about. It's like, I know this idea is going to work, and that's tough. How did you approach that with people with money and all those kind of things?
Well, I would just say we've been lucky, to be honest, because it just took one person to take a punt on us, really and truly. We had an idea, we were both passionate, and we're hungry, and that person decided, look, all right, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and see what you guys can do with this. And then when you speak to traditional venture capitalists, angel investors and what have you, you go to them with an idea, they're telling you, sorry, we need to see at least a proof of concept. We need something tangible that we can see so we can invest smartly. Of course, all investment is a risk and has some level of risk, but we need to see something. And when you haven't got that, you don't really stand a chance of getting funding, whether it's on a crowdfunding platform or not. So, you know, as I said, we've just been lucky to convince somebody to part with their money so we can test and do what we need to do.
Yeah, so
I think when you say you're being lucky, I think you are giving yourself a disservice, you guys, because you two are actually really good, and you've got an idea which you're passionate about, and you're both very young, hungry and driven, and you make your own luck. You know, you two have both had this idea and you've both gone for it, and you've actually moved forward, and you know, you've sacrificed, and you've made decisions, and you've made tough decisions. So I think you've created your own luck, and somewhere along the line someone would have backed you anyway. I don't think you've been lucky. I think you've just been ridiculously hardworking, and
thank you very much.
You're very passionate. And but going on from that, now what I want from you is to give a top tip to a younger entrepreneur.
Never stop believing in yourself, and whatever the idea is, even if it doesn't work, it won't be the last idea. If you're really an entrepreneur, if you're really creative, you will find an entrepreneurial avenue in whatever it is you're doing. So just keep going. That's one I'd say.
Well, I would say, alongside with your passion and that emotional drive that you have for the idea and the concept that you have, match it with research. You know, really dig in and show yourself approved by studying your field, understanding your field, being the genius in your field. So, you know, when you do sit down with other people, you know, you stand at the best position possible to convince anybody, and that way you will be, you know, highly likely to get backing in any form, whether it's just a mentor or some funding. Yeah.
I completely agree with both of those. One of the things that I did when I first started was local area. I knew everything. I knew more than anyone in my local area.
Well, you have to.
Because when you sit down with people, if people, they perceive us differently for being younger, you know, we wear different clothes to them. They're wearing a suit, we're not. But if they say something and you can say, well, actually, this is right due to the research, and then to believe in yourself, in those situations you're going to get so many knockbacks, and just how you handle them is absolutely paramount. I've absolutely loved speaking to you guys.
Likewise.
So Shaun and Jerome, they're both amazing. Check out the rest of the interviews this week on the Young Property Entrepreneur Week.